Welcome back EDP students. In this video we're going to look at switches and coding. So we're going to start off with this circuit here. So we've got our microcontroller and on pin 10 we have our LED, which is active low. We then have our switch on pin 11. Okay, and when closed we'll get a low, and when open, like it is right now, we'll get high. So continuing, we open our Arduino IDE and we get our setup and our loop. We're going to define our pins. So I've got pin 10 as LED 1 and pin 11 as switch 1. We then need to define our mode of our pins. And this is quite important because it will affect how the pins work. So we're going to use the function pin mode, and for the LED we'll set it as an output, but for the switch we need to set it as an input. If you do this incorrectly, the rest won't work correctly, okay? But it won't give you an error, okay? Because it can't see what you're connecting things to. Okay, so if something's not working, you might want to go back and check this. The next thing I'm going to do is create a variable, and I've called this variable switch value. So this variable I've created to store the state of the switch, so if it's opened or closed, i.e. high or low. So I need to read the state of the switch, and to do this I use the function digital read. Digital read accepts the particular pin that I want to check its state. So I want to check the switch's state. So I want to read this pin here. It will return a value which I can store in a variable, and it will tell me the current state. Now, once it's read, we can test this. So I have the current state in this switch value variable, and I want to see if it's equal to low. I could also check if it's equal to high, but I'm checking if it's equal to low. If it is, then we do some code here, else we'll do some code here. So in this case, if it's low, then I'm going to use digital write, and I'm going to set the LED to low, meaning turning it on. Okay, if we have a look here, the low for our switch would mean that our switch is pushed down. So basically, if our switch is pushed down, then our LED is on. Else, we have a high for LED 1, okay? And so, if our switch is open, we will have our LED turned off. So every time we have the switch pushed down, we should have the LED on. And when our switch is not pushed, we should have the LED off. Alright, so now we're going to step through the code. So we'll start at the pin mode, and we'll set those both. Okay, we won't see much happen there. And then we'll create our variable. Okay, so we've got switch value. We then need to read the pin. Okay, so we read the pin, and the pin should read high at this stage, okay, because this switch is open. So this will store a 1 in our switch value. So high is the value 1. So we keep going, and we get to this if statement. If switch value is low, which it's not, okay, low is 0. So it goes to the else, and we get a high on our pin 10, which means our LED is off. We continue and we go back to the start of our loop. Okay. We'll now press our switch down. Okay, so now this switch is connected to ground. So now when we get to this switch value becomes digital read switch 1, it will read this pin and we should get a 0, and so it will store a 0 in our switch value variable. This is low. So now when we get here, If switch value is low, which it is, then we write low on our LED pin. So by doing so, the LED will turn on. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you very much.